both, oh yes we both, oh yes we both reach for the gun, the gun, the gun, the gun, oh yes we both reach for the gun, for the gun.
Action! Hello and welcome to another episode of Movie Reviews and all that jazz. My name is Daniela.
And I'm Alfonso. Today we're going to review Chicago, directed by Rob Marshall, who's a filmmaker and choreographer best known for directing films like Nine, Into the Woods, and Memoirs of a Geisha.
Chicago tells the story of two death row murderesses that develop a fierce rivalry while competing for publicity, celebrity, and a sleazy lawyer's attention.
Very intriguing.
Yes, very intriguing. And this video contains spoilers, so if you haven't seen Chicago, we recommend you to pause this video, go watch it, and come back, because it's gonna get interesting. So why don't we start by talking about the cast?
What an amazing cast, right? I think everybody did a wonderful job, and it was a pleasant surprise to see all of them singing so well. I was not expecting Catherine Zeta-Jones, Richard Gere, or Renee Zellweger singing as good as they were singing. And I loved all the performances. I know that Catherine Zeta-Jones is the one that got the Oscar, but I actually prefer Richard Gere's and Renee Zellweger's performances. They were all amazing. What did you think?
Yeah, I think the cast was amazing, and I know they did their own singing, their own dancing. There's no doubles for this movie. I actually did like the acting a lot of Catherine Zeta-Jones a lot. Like,
yeah, me too.
She's very powerful. She has a powerful voice, and I didn't expect, like you said, Richard Gere singing or dancing, or Renee Zellweger, but overall I thought the cast was amazing for the film.
Right. And also the supporting characters and actors like John C. Reilly, he's also great. Queen Latifah. Yeah, even the small roles are doing a great job.
Yes. So in these films, there's a lot of singing while we see the story developing. So what did you thought about the cinematography?
I thought it was really cool. I like the distinction of the real world, which has a very gritty gray look, and the Imaginarium, which is like a stage with a spotlight and with a big source of light. I like that. What do you think of the cinematography?
I liked it a lot. I like how the music numbers just blend with the story really well. Like, it's not like a cut, like a very abrupt cut. It's really smooth.
It is very smooth. And in terms of cinematography, I also enjoyed the very frenetic movements. It's as if the camera was also a dancer or something. It moved very rhythmically. And I think that what you were talking about is also achieved in part because of Martin Walsh's editing. I think the editing is superb. It was my favorite thing in the whole movie. Do you have any thoughts on the editing?
I think the editing was really good, especially the transitions between the acts and the real life, because we're, as the spectator, we're seeing the act, but at the same time, as we have the music in the background, but we keep seeing what's happening in real life, right? And I really enjoyed that, how it was all really well mixed together.
Exactly. Yeah, that's wonderful. I really love the parallel editing of real world and the mind. And I like how you see them struggling in real life, and then it cuts to the stage and it's their mental process. And I also love the transitions. There's a lot of match cuts. Like there's this cut where Queen Latifah is putting some dollar bills into her shirt, and then it cuts to Queen Latifah doing a magic trick and bringing some handkerchiefs out of her shirt.
Yeah.
And that was a great transition.
Mhm.
Or one of my favorite transitions and cuts was almost at the beginning when the police officer flashes the flashlight into Renee Zellweger's light. Sorry, he flashes the flashlight into Renee Zellweger's face, and it cuts to her on the stage with a spotlight lighting her. And I thought that was a beautiful match cut, but also a beautiful metaphor, because she was getting attention from the police officer, and that's all she ever wanted. She wanted attention, so she just wanted to be in the spotlight, and she just wanted to feel famous, even if it was with committing a crime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like I think one of also my favorites is when they're about to get into the court and they open the door, and it's actually this like stage, but they have like the tables of the court, so it's like a mix between the court and the act. Do you remember that song? Well, that act.
Right. Yeah. I think you're referring to the Razzle Dazzle number. I'm not sure.
Yes, it is the Razzle Dazzle.
That's a good one. I like it. And I mean, I could talk about editing for the whole duration of the video. But last thing I want to mention, which is probably my favorite scene, is Richard Gere in the trial, and he's trying to come up with the defense, and it cuts to him tap dancing.
Yes.
And you just see him like putting all this mental effort, like, okay, what am I gonna come up with? What am I gonna come up with? And he cuts to him sweating, putting a lot of effort in his tap dance. And I also thought that was a great visual metaphor, and I really, really loved it.
Yeah. I think all the acts mixed with the real life, they were really good. Like it was a really good combination.
Yeah. And I mean, I already mentioned one of my favorite acts, so why don't you tell me one of your favorite acts?
I knew you were gonna ask this, and I think I have to say one of my favorites, because I have a lot of favorites, was the one of We Both Reach for the Gun. I really like the performance of Richard as the ventriloquist and Roxy as a puppet, and it was very, like you said, like it was another like metaphor of like she's trying to say what she wants, but there she has in the back Billy trying to like speaking for her, right? Like
Right.
She's like he's trying to say the right thing for her to get publicity and to get a good look with the press, and that was one of my favorite acts. And the song,
same, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, the lyrics. And I have to say, like, I think my favorite acts were the ones where Richard Gere was on. If I had to, like, no,
I think he steals the scene, you know, like
yeah.
he's so good. He's very charismatic and what's the word? Like maybe seductive, or I don't know.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
Yeah. But what was one of your favorite acts?
Yeah, like same. I already mentioned the tap dancing of Richard Gere, and also We Both Reach for the Gun. I like the choreography, like all of these dancers. They look like puppets with the strings, and it looks great. The makeup on Renee Zellweger's face, she also looks like a doll, like a porcelain doll or something. And you already mentioned like the lyrics referring to what's happening in reality. So the totality of that act is just wonderful.
Yeah.
So I already mentioned Renee Zellweger's makeup in that scene, but I think the whole film was full of great makeup and great costume designs by Colin Atwood. So what did you think of Colin Atwood's work?
I think one of the most important things of the movie was taking us to that time, right? The late 20s. And I think she did a really good job, especially, of course, the performing costumes were my favorite, right? Like with full of sparkles and movement. Yeah, those were one of my favorites. But also, I saw in an interview that, for example, the suits that Billy was wearing were original from that time. So I think it was very, very accurate. The like costumes to that time, and also the dresses that Renee is wearing for the trial. And I can talk a lot about the costume design, but I just thought it was great. Like uh, Belma's costume while she's in prison, you know, like all black. I just loved all the costume design. I think it was really good. I think it was really, really good. It really took me back to that time, and it was just amazing. What did you think?
Definitely. I agree. Amazing costume design. When they are on stage with these vaudeville references, or when they're in prison, I like the great jumpsuits. I think it's all great. And any thoughts on the production design in general?
Yes, a lot. Oh, yes, yes. Um, I like how a lot of the acts are in one same stage, because also I think that one same stage changed a lot for the different acts, right? So I thought it was really great, really creative how they changed for every act. Especially this one comes to my mind, the solo act of Renee Zellweger, where there's like mirrors and she's wearing this little silver dress, and then you see like the on neon lights Roxy. And I just thought all they were like really creative sets, right? The one with the court, that is also the performance court act, um, the prison. I I also saw in an interview that all the sets were like removable, so like the walls change, and I I thought it was amazing.
Yeah,
Seriously, it just I think, you know, like the costume design plus the production design plus the acting plus the numbers, they just like all came together really well. And it was an amazing, visually really beautiful work of art. That's what I
definitely.
have to say. Yeah. What do you
I
think
agree
about it?
completely. I
Yeah.
agree completely. It's amazing. The sets are great, and it all works together to create this atmosphere of the 20s of people smoking, jazz, liquor, crime.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah. I think something really important that we haven't mentioned is the music, right? This is a musical, and what do you think about that?
I thought it was great. I love the compositions by John Kander, the lyrics by Fred Ebb, and the arrangements by Danny Elfman. I think he did a great job adapting this to the screen. And great. I like that genre of music. At times it reminded me of early Tom Waits. I love Tom Waits. And yeah, what did you think?
I love the music. I thought the songs were really good. It tell the story, right? It was part of the script, but just with music, right? And with dancing. And I thought it did a great job on telling the story. Every act was really good. Every song was amazing, really catchy. Like I haven't stopped listening to like I have stuck in my head We Both Reach for the Gun and a lot of songs.
And we already mentioned the singing a little bit, but I want to emphasize how good it is. I think in some musicals, they hire actors because of their name and their star power that don't necessarily sing very well. But this one was a very pleasant surprise. I seriously was not expecting this level of singing.
Yeah, especially because it is really them singing, and them dancing, right? And I wouldn't expect for some of the characters to do so well, but it was a really, really nice surprise.
So should we jump into the themes?
Okay, yes, let's jump into the themes.
What did you think?
Okay, one really obvious, no, well, one that came to my mind, and then doing like a little bit more recent research. Okay, one that came to my mind, and of course, like doing more research about it was, of course, like the impact and the power of the press, right? Of the newspaper and the media. And I just think it's really powerful nowadays too. And this movie just shows perfectly how powerful it can be, especially when, like they committed the crime, but still they were let out, they were free. And it was, I think, one part because of like a good press and good looks and good force of speech. So that's one that came to my mind. What did you think?
Yeah, the power of the press, definitely. Like I kept thinking that the press only cared about controversy and selling newspapers. They didn't care about the truth. And I think that was a very important aspect of the film. And I also kept thinking about influencers nowadays, like TikTok people who become famous for 15 minutes and then people forget them. And I think the film also mentions a little bit about that. He mentions how all of these famous people are a flash in the pan, and they are able to enjoy a very ephemeral fame. And yeah, I think that's a great comment on society.
Yeah.
And
And just how like because of their fame they may have like some benefit.
yeah, the case of Velma and the case of Roxy were very reminiscent of cases like O.J. Simpson, or even Ted Bundy, like these guys who commit atrocious acts, but they become so famous and even celebrities. And that's crazy. And I think that's getting more prevalent every time. And I think it's very dangerous. Like people are committing atrocious acts just to reach a certain level of fame. And that's crazy. I also like how they mention how life is show business. Like show business and life are the same thing. Everybody's acting and trying to get what they want all the time. And I really like that. I really like the scene of the trial when Renee Zellweger is pretending to cry, pretending to be very passionate, and then she faints, and she looks at Richard Gere and she tells him like, "What a bullseye!"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my god, she's acting in real life."
Yeah.
I don't even know if this has anything to do with the themes, but I just remember that. And yeah.
No, yeah, I think like the trial was a very important part of all the themes, right? Now that you mention it, it's now that you mention it, the part where Velma arrives with the diary, and then Billy is just like coming up with how to defend Roxy. It was just like very creative, and it might like it's like that in real life too. Like these lawyers would do anything and say anything and just put up false evidence to save their clients.
Exactly. Like it's all a show, and he acknowledges it. He's like, life is a show business and I'm a great actor.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And I guess it also has to say something about women in the 20s, how they were being gaslit by males, how they were being abused. And it was this time, this decade, where women were taking matters into their own hands and doing whatever they wanted, I guess, something like that.
Yeah, this movie was great from beginning to end, and I think it's time for the truth.
Why don't you start? What do you think of the film?
Okay. Well, I really enjoy this film. We already mentioned it has great cinematography, great editing, production design, costume design, acting, performances, everything. And as I did more research about it, my rating got higher. So I'm gonna give this movie a 9. Movie to take.
Popcorn to take. Wow.
Popcorn to take. What about you, Alfonso?
I love this film. I like the mixture of genres. It has some comedy, it has music, it has a legal drama. I've heard that it's overrated, but I actually think it's underrated. Like I've heard some people say that it's overrated because it won the Oscar over The Lord of the Rings and the Two Towers and over The Pianist. But I would say that it's underrated because I don't think enough people have seen it.
Mhm.
And I think it has a lot of rewatch value. I think the musical numbers are very, very fun. And I don't know, I think I might be razzle dazzled because of all this spectacle, but I'm gonna give this movie 9 as well. Popcorn to take.
Excellent.
It might be my favorite musical, but truth to be told, I haven't seen many musicals.
Yeah. So we can both agree that this movie is great. So we recommend to all of you to go watch it right now. Okay, and now it's time for the truth to know what movie we're gonna watch next week.
Yes, so all throughout October, we're gonna be reviewing horror films. And the next Friday, we're gonna start with the cult horror film, May, directed by Loki McKee.
All right. Okay, I'm ready to get scared.
Hopefully it's scary. I know nothing about that film.
If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you next Friday for another movie review.
Thank you. Bye.